YouTube is live. Let me get Instagram going. Hello, friends. It has been a little while since I have popped on live here. I've had my adorable little nephew visiting, and I've just been taking as much time as possible to play with him and hang out with him. And oh my goodness, like I absolutely adore kids, and I always have, but this has been this has been an enlightening experience. Like I have so much fun playing with him, and he's just like the cutest little chicken nugget ever, and he's such an amazing baby. But I have learned from this experience that when my time comes as a mother, I am going to need a full-time live-in nanny and someone to cook and clean for me if I want to retain any chance of keeping my sanity and my soul and my joy and my will to live. Because looking after children, that it's just so much work. Like it literally makes going to work feel like a holiday and a walk in the park. So I have a newfound respect for all the parents out there. Seriously, if you're a parent and you're doing it without a huge support system, hats off to you. So much respect, because I just know that I could not. Like, I know that I am going to love my children. I'm going to be so devoted to them, but I'm also going to be unapologetic in asking for help and knowing that I need a freaking village. Like, we were never meant to do this alone. We were never meant to do this alone. And just the way that modern society has evolved has resulted in us being more fractured in our communities, and parents are taking on so much load without much support. So that much I know about myself, and I'm like, this has taught me that I'm going to be the parent who's like, mommy and daddy are going on our quarterly getaway. Love you, but we matter too. Okay? See you in a few days. Mwah, bye. Yeah, seriously, I'm like, when the moment that you have kids, like you got to just go all in and be devoted to them. So you have to look after yourself as well. And it's making me realize that I really need to live it up. Live it up right now. While that time still hasn't come. Oh my goodness. Hello everyone. My body changes and you somehow learn to live on no sleep. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm waiting for that day, because seriously, if I'm an 8 to 9 hour sleep kind of gal, and when I get 7 hours, I am grumpy AF. So the day that I discover Melanie who can run on like 5 hours of sleep, wow. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, I don't know, someone needs to do the night shift, like please. Mama needs her beauty sleep. And I'm like, I'm not even my nephew's mom. I'm like peripheral help, and I was just in a freaking daze for the whole of the first week. Anyways, enough about me. I wanted to hop on here and chat with you guys about being the chaos. No. Can you tell? Brain's not working today. We're talking about being the peace amidst the chaos, and how we can be the pillar in our families and in our communities that people find refuge in, that people go to when they are seeking stability, when they are seeking haven, and when they are seeking someone who is stable and strong and peaceful within. And I think being able to do that for the people around us is such an incredible showcase of our love and our care for the people that we love most and for our wider community. And you're going to know if you're called to do this, because when shit hits the fan, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, not again. But there's also going to be another voice within you that is like, here we go. I was fucking built for this. Okay. So one of the most important things we need to do when we are wanting to be that pillar of peace, it sounds selfish, but I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that we, number one, prioritize looking after our mental, physical, emotional health. Keeping up with the rituals and practices that help regulate us and keep us stable. Because it's so cheesy, right? But if we don't pour into ourselves and make sure that we are nourished from within, how can we expect to be that pillar that other people can come to and that other people can seek stability from, right? When we are not looking after ourselves, we are not feeling good, we are not well rested, we are not, looking after our bodies. Like everyone is different, and you're going to find what works for you. But for me, I have to carve out that time in the morning and in the evening where I don't necessarily have to get all of my rituals done, right? I'm discovering that with kids, the clock, the universe runs around them, not you and your morning yoga. I used to wake up and be like, nobody talk to me. I'm gonna do my yoga, then I'm gonna do my qigong, then I'm gonna do my meditation, then I'm gonna make my breakfast, and then maybe 3 hours later, okay, now we can have a conversation. And no, when as soon as kids come into the picture, like that's just not happening, right? And I understand that you don't have to be perfect when it comes to these things. However, if I don't get my whole routine done, I'm at least carving out 10 minutes if I can only get yoga done that morning, right? Or if I can only do like my 5 minutes of my qigong. I need to make sure that I look after myself first in the morning. Otherwise, I'm going to be resentful and I'm going to be grumpy, and I'm not going to be a source of peace. I'm going to be a source of chaos for everyone. And that does nothing for the people around me. And in the evening as well, find what works for you. But for me, I find that working with the body and with releasing the tension held in the body is so life-changing. And even the other day, I remember my sister was telling me, she was like, lately you've been really good at just staying calm. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but well, I do. It's all of the accumulated effects of being consistent with these nervous system regulation practices. You don't notice the effect immediately, but after a few weeks and months of being consistent, you start to realize that you just respond to situations differently. And you just have this level of calm and composure that you didn't have before. And when someone comes at you, let's say in a moment, they maybe, I don't know, they say something to you that you feel is really rude, or they say in a tone that is not the nicest. What typical therapy talk teaches us is that you need to lay down your boundaries and tell the other person that that is not okay to speak to you like that, right? But when you are operating from that framework, you're operating from a reactive framework, and you're operating from the same frequency of the person who is coming at you. When you look after yourself, nourish yourself first thing in the morning and last thing before bed, and that is sacred time. You elevate your frequency to a place where instead of being reactive, you see through the illusion of what the other person is doing at that time. So maybe they're shouting at you, maybe they're saying something rude to you, maybe they're, going off at you. But when you are that pillar of calm, you see right through it, and you don't feel the need to react because you can see, okay, this person is overwhelmed right now. And that's why they're speaking like this. It's not an attack on me, and I'm not even taking it personally. Or this person is really tired right now. Or this person is feeling really hurt right now. That's why they're speaking like that. And because they're operating on this frequency and you're operating on this frequency, it doesn't actually feel like an attack on you. Does that make sense? You're not operating, you're not reacting. You're here, they're operating here. And because you're operating on this frequency, it feels like the point that I'm trying to make is that people will often say, you have to set these boundaries and you have to teach people that it's not okay to speak with you like that. But what I found is that when you come out of that frequency of reactivity and like, I have to react to them and tell them that's not okay, you're actually just on that same frequency as them. When you can bring yourself to that bird's eye view and see, okay, this person is overwhelmed. Perhaps what they need right now is some empathy. Perhaps what they need right now is just for me to hold my peace and hold my calm. And every single time when you operate from this frequency, they come up and eventually meet you there. Maybe they'll come and apologize for how they were speaking before. Or maybe they'll just calm down. Either way, if you hold your frequency of calm, you stay there. Everyone around you will eventually calibrate to your frequency. And isn't that such an amazing gift to give to the people around you? Being that source of peace that they can come to, being that source of stability, being that source of the person who generates more love and appreciation in all their relationships and reminds people to see the good in each other. Isn't that such a gift that we can give people? And it starts by us giving that to ourselves, nourishing ourselves. And I am being so serious when I tell you that you have to be freaking serious about carving out that time for yourself, morning and evening, right? I think another incredible practice is meditation, prayer, things that connect you with spirit and with the greater power before you get stuck into your day and into the illusion of all of the chaos of everyone around you. Come back to that stability within. First thing in the morning, last thing in the evening. And it is not, I'm not, sharing with you anything that you haven't heard before or anything groundbreaking. But this is a reminder that to be that pillar that you know you're freaking built to be, you have to nourish yourself first. Maybe this is your reminder because you've been putting it off and you think, oh, no, I've got more important things to do. No, there is nothing more important than tending to your spirit. You're going to feel it. And the people who you love most are going to feel it. So don't put it aside as if it's something that is secondary. No, it's primary. It is the most important thing for you to do. And I also wanted to share with you a few practical things to remember, because the reality is that when situations occur, when chaos occurs, we're never going to be perfect. And it's completely unreasonable to expect ourselves to be perfect and to expect other people to be perfect. And I think a lot of the time when we are people who are into the world of self-development, inner growth, inner work, we have this tendency to hold a lot of guilt and shame when we maybe handle a situation in a way that we're not proud of. And we have this inner talk where we're like, oh my gosh, well, you're into all of this stuff and can't believe that you reacted like that. Like, goes against the things that you talk about, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, none of us are perfect. And it is not productive for us to ruminate over situations that we have not handled in the best way. And this is what I have to offer you. So, first practical tip is when chaos occurs, shit hits the fan, and you're like, okay, crap, I did not say the best thing in that moment, and maybe I behaved in a way that I'm not proud of, right? Acknowledge it. And then own up to it. Do what you need to do. If you need to make apologies, make apologies. If you need to just sit down and be vulnerable and have a chat, right, with someone, do it. You're not doing it because you are expecting the other person to accept your apology or to have a certain reaction to your apology. You can't control how they respond. They may or may not have the capacity to receive your apology or to receive the conversation that you want to have. But do it regardless. Why? Because to be the person that you want to be a woman of character, you have to do the thing that is the right thing to do, regardless of how the other person is going to respond to you. Be the person you envision yourself to be, regardless of what the response is going to be, regardless of whether you're going to get praise for it, regardless of whether the other person is going to be open arms or be like, do it anyway, because it's the right thing to do. And that is a far better course of action than ruminating over what you did or what you said while not doing anything about it, shaming yourself, guilting yourself. Those things are not productive. So that's number one. And number two is sort of a natural byproduct of number one, is when you start learning to give yourself grace in those moments, you start expanding your capacity to give other people grace. And you start being able to see when they are not in their best state, and you can have empathy for them because you remember all of the times where you've slipped up as well, or where you've fallen off and done something that you've committed to shifting, right? Sometimes you have conversations and you're like, all right, this is what I want to shift, and I'm committed to doing that. And then you realize, oh, hold up. Lasting, sustained change doesn't happen overnight. It happens with consistent effort. And when you can forgive yourself for not changing overnight, you can look at other people and say, you know what? Yeah, we had that conversation, but I'm not going to expect them to be perfect tomorrow. Because I can give myself grace, I can give them grace too for their process and for their journey. And I know that so long as I have the intention of shifting and evolving and growing, it will happen with time. And so I can allow them that time too. And when you approach relationships from this orientation of consideration and empathy and positivity, seeing the good in the other person rather than expectation and being like, no, you have to behave this way. And I already told you to do that once before. So the fact that you're not doing it again is disrespectful. Like, I need to get that energy out of my body, right? You can feel the difference between the two orientations towards seeing other people. And the first one just feels so much better, feels so much more loving, and is so much more conducive to generating love and goodwill in relationships. There was one more thing I wanted to share. I'm trying to remember it. Let's see if it comes back. Hello? Where were you? Anyway, if it comes, it comes. I was chatting with my bestie the other day, and she was telling me how she had deleted Instagram off of her phone, and she was like having the time of her life, just not being so connected to social media. And I've really discovered that over the past couple weeks that my little baby nephew has been here, and it's really, really just forced me to be more present. And as a byproduct, I've just been on my phone way less, and it's been so good, and it's been so nourishing. And the other day, I was scrolling before bed, and I could just feel that feeling of sickness in my body as I was scrolling and just consuming and consuming other people's content. And it made me realize how important it is for us to disconnect online and make sure that we have boundaries and standards for ourselves with how much we consume of other people's lives through a screen. And one thing, one tip that my bestie shared that I thought was so good was that she started treating her phone time like she was clocking in and out of work. And, like 6 o'clock in the evening, all right, phone down, and like she wouldn't go on it anymore because like the workday's over, right? And the phone is just part of the workday. And once that's done, it's time to put it down and focus on connecting with the people in your real everyday life, the people nearest and dearest to you, and to actually be present when you're with them. And that is, I mean, I've just felt such a difference in doing that. And I cannot emphasize how important it is for us to set those boundaries online, because I noticed that, especially a few, I mean, let's say not really this year, but more so last year and the years before that, when I was very much just in the online space and constantly on social media. I was posting so much back then. Your vision and perception of the world and reality changes so much and is influenced so much by what you consume on social media. And I think because a lot of the things that garner a lot of attention and views are very polarizing and very chaotic in energy, right? Because that's what the masses will be drawn to, is that polarization and that frequency of anger and that frequency of, being argumentative and just like wanting to say, no, I'm right, no, all of that. It really affects your mental health. And yeah, we would all be better off with less screen time. Okay, I'm going to see what you guys have said, because so many of you have left amazing comments and I haven't gotten to them. Congrats on becoming a mom. Oh, no, I'm not a mom yet. I'm just an auntie. Hello. We're living in a very fast-paced environment. Yes. Staying calm. We need to focus on staying calm and not react on our emotions. Yes, that's right. YP is really... I loved your view of parents as we're sitting on the shoulders of giants. Yes. So truly, as I mature and get older, I realize that I used to have the thought process of, I'm the cycle breaker, and I'm the one here who is meant to really blaze the trail of bringing emotional health into the lineage. But as I've continued walking on this journey, I've realized that every single generation has stood on the shoulders of those who came before them. And our parents broke cycles that we didn't see. Our grandparents broke cycles that we didn't see. And all of the work that I do, that you do, that we do, is simply a continuation of the work that they have already begun. Just like our future generations, our children, will be able to spot the areas in which maybe we weren't able to reach. And they will, standing on our shoulders, continue the work as well. So, yeah, it's really just a continuation of the work of all of our ancestors, and all of our descendants will continue the work as well. And that releases a lot of the pressure as well from us doing like everything. Like, we're never going to be able to do everything. Our goal is just to simply elevate every generation in whatever way we can, in the gifts that we were given, in the vision that was given to us. And yeah. Thank you for that comment. Okay. Wow, so many of you joined today. Thank you so much for joining and for sitting with me. The replay or the video will be up on YouTube as well. And yeah, it was so nice. It was so nice just to carve out this time to sit with you and to chat with you. and I had like 10 minutes of meditation before I hopped on here, and it was like the best thing ever. It felt like such a luxury. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, gotta go because I want to go play with my little nephew. So thank you again for joining. I am going to catch you on the next live, whenever that is. And yeah, enjoy your day. Mwah. Take care.